Hello, I've prepared this short video on IELTS reading, and in this video we're specifically looking at the questions that ask whether a statement is true, false or not given compared to the reading. In this video, what I'm going to do is first we're going to talk very briefly about the difference between true, false, not given and yes, no, not given. True, false, not given, you usually get these kind of questions when the reading is about maybe something in nature, or perhaps it's about a theory, or it's about a process, or something like that. We usually get yes, no, not given if the statements in the question are more about the opinion of the writer or the author. So whenever the questions are about a writer's opinion, we will usually get yes, no, not given. If we're talking about anything else, it's true, false, not given. So that's the difference between these two. The skills you would need, the technique you would need to answer these questions are exactly the same. So what I'm going to do after this video is I'm going to email you a short reading, a sample reading from the IELTS website. I'd like you to see if you can answer with true, false, not given, and once you have, then I'm going to share my answers with you with explanations to explain to you why a statement is true, where is the answer, why is it false, and why is it not given. We'll be looking very closely at the text itself. So let's start with a very small example of what we mean by this kind of question. The majority of people who graduated from university found it difficult to get a job. So this, for example, is the kind of sentence that you would get in the reading text. And then after the text you would have question, true, false, not given, and then you will have this. So you have a statement and we have to see if this statement agrees, contradicts, or there is no link and no information given in the text itself. After finishing their tertiary education, all people had difficulties in finding employment. So the first thing we're going to do, now that we've read all the text, is we're going to look very closely at the question. We need to completely understand the question before we can go back to the text again and understand if it's true, false or not given. So after finishing their tertiary education, this is new vocabulary and it means university. So we can see already that we have synonyms for university here. So for now, the sentence agrees with this sentence. All people had difficulties in finding employment. The next word we have is employment, and again we can see that it has a synonym here. Employment is the same as job. And then we have had difficulties in, and again difficulties is the same here, found it difficult. Had difficulties, found it difficult. So far, three sections of the text are very similar to the three sections in the question. And this is where a lot of the students will tick true because they think it agrees. However, we need to look at all sections of the reading. Here it says the majority of people, whereas here it says all people. All people means 100%. The majority of people, as you know, is less than 100%. So in this type of question, the answer would be false. Okay? So, looking at IELTS reading, knowledge of vocabulary is key to be able to pass the IELTS reading section. In order to know vocabulary, it's very good to be able to know synonyms, words that have the same meaning, antonyms, words that have the opposite meaning, and paraphrases, where you have one sentence and another sentence is said, it has the same meaning, but it's used different words. Okay, so knowledge of these three is very important in the IELTS reading, and you can usually get knowledge of these three by reading other types of reading as much as you can. Just sticking to IELTS past papers will not really help. Reading outside real material is a lot better, like real magazine articles, newspaper articles, books, novels, reading anything about documentaries or anything about nature. These are very, very helpful. Okay. So far we've learned that the technique for true, false, not given is to read the text, and then when we have the questions, to analyze the question very carefully. We come back to the text, read over the text very quickly to see where we find that information. Once we find the vocabulary that is similar to the question, we zoom in and we read very carefully to be able to see if the information is true, false, or if we cannot find any evidence of the information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this reading. Okay, it's called Making Time for Science. I'd like you to read it if you can, and then answer the 7 true, false, not given questions. Once you've given me your answers anytime this week, then I will create another video. We'll go back together and we'll look at each question to see if each question is true, false, or not given. I hope you find it useful. Thank you.